There's one detail about Alex Eala's career that almost never makes the headlines. She's ranked number 38 in the world. She beat Iga Swiatek, the world number 2, in straight sets at the Miami Open. She won her first WTA singles title in 2025, the first Filipino ever to do that.
Conferences. She had more views than Alcaraz, Sinner, Novak.
Her career earnings on the WTA Tour have crossed $1.9 million US. And yet, every single time she wants to play at a Grand Slam, New York, London, Paris, Melbourne, she has to apply for a visa in advance. That's not a minor inconvenience. In professional tennis, it can literally be the difference between competing and not competing at all. To understand why that matters, you need to understand how the tour actually operates. Professional tennis isn't a fixed calendar you book out months ahead. Players are constantly adapting, wildcard spots open at the last minute, opponents pull out with injuries, someone might skip a tournament to recover, then decide 3 days later they're fit enough to enter the next one. The whole system runs on flexibility and split-second decision-making. Alex Eala holds a Philippine passport, ranked between 74th and 75th globally on the Henley Passport Index, with visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to just 64 to 67 countries. Put that next to Singapore's passport, which tops the global rankings at 195 destinations, or Japan's at 193. Spain, where Eala has lived and trained since 2018, sits third in the world with access to 192 countries. Every single one of the 4 Grand Slam host nations, the United States, Great Britain, France, and Australia, requires Philippine passport holders to get a visa in advance. So does China, which is a major stop on the Asian swing. What that means in practice is that Eala can't just decide on a Tuesday to enter a tournament in New York that starts on Monday. She has to plan around embassy appointments, document submissions, processing windows, all the bureaucratic logistics that players from passport-powerful countries simply never have to think about. Eala herself has spoken about this. The constant visa cycle means she's regularly pulling time away from training to deal with paperwork at embassies. And for a professional athlete, that lost time, the time that should be going into preparation and recovery, isn't something you can just get back. This isn't a new anxiety for Filipino sports fans, and that history is exactly what makes the current conversation feel so loaded. Yuka Saso was a Philippine-born golfer who won a historic gold medal for the Philippines at the 2018 Asian Games. She was celebrated nationally, a real breakthrough figure. Then in 2021, when she came of age, she chose to represent Japan. The main reason was the Japanese passport, which gave her the travel access she needed to compete without restrictions on the LPGA Tour. For a lot of Filipinos, Saso became the one that got away. And now with Eala emerging as the most successful Filipino tennis player in WTA history, that same fear has started circulating again. But here's where it gets genuinely more complicated than most coverage lets on. Unlike Japan, Spain doesn't require you to give up your original citizenship when you naturalize. And because the Philippines was a Spanish colony, Philippine citizens can apply for Spanish citizenship after just 2 years of legal residency, not the standard 10 years that applies to most other nationalities. Eala has lived in Spain since September 2018. She's been based permanently at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca. Under Spanish law, she's been eligible to apply for Spanish citizenship for several years now. And here's the detail that changes the whole conversation. The Philippines has Republic Act 9225, the Citizenship Retention and Reacquisition Act of 2003, which allows natural-born Filipinos who take on foreign citizenship to keep their Philippine nationality. So in practical terms, Eala could legally hold both a Philippine and a Spanish passport at the same time. She'd gain all the travel freedom that comes with one of the world's most powerful passports while staying fully eligible to represent the Philippines in international competition. No defection, no choosing sides, both countries' laws already allow it. Whether she ever pursues that is entirely her call. But the point is, the framing of this as some looming crisis, as history about to repeat itself with Yuka Saso, doesn't actually reflect the full legal picture. This path to the world's top 40 didn't happen by accident, and it didn't happen alone. It started with her grandfather, Roberto Maniego, who introduced her to tennis at age 4 at the Valle Verde Country Club in Pasig City. He was her very first coach. Her mother, Rosemarie Maniego Eala, was an elite athlete in her own right, a bronze medalist in the 100-meter backstroke at the 1985 SEA Games, and later served as Chief Financial Officer of Globe Telecom, one of the Philippines' largest telcos, until 2024. Her father, Michael Eala, handles her mental preparation and scheduling. Her uncle Noli Eala served as Commissioner of the Philippine Basketball Association and Chairperson of the Philippine Sports Commission. Tennis runs deep on her brother's side too. Michael Francis Eala also trained at the Rafael Nadal Academy and went on to play NCAA Division I tennis for Pennsylvania State University. This is a family that understood both elite sport and elite infrastructure, and they built Eala's career largely on their own. When she was 13, she won the prestigious Les Petits Asous 14 tournament in Tarbes, France, which earned her a scholarship to the Rafael Nadal Academy. She moved to Mallorca in September 2018 and graduated from the Academy's academic program in 2023. Her sponsorship story is just as striking. She signed her first commercial deal set with Globe Telecom at age 8. Today, her portfolio includes Nike and Babolat globally, plus domestic partners BPI and Milo. The 2025 season genuinely deserves its own chapter. Eala walked into the WTA 1000 Miami Open as a wild card, ranked number 140. She left as a semifinalist, having beaten 3 Grand Slam champions along the way, including world number 10 Madison Keys and world number 2 Iga Swiatek 6-2, 7-5. After that match, Swiatek told the press she went all out. She made those returns quite long. That run pushed Eala into the top 100, and the rest of 2025 kept building. She reached her first WTA Tour-level final at the Eastbourne International on grass. She won her first Grand Slam main draw match at the US Open, defeating Clara Towson 6-3, 2-6, 7-6. Then on September 7, 2025, she won her first WTA singles title at the Guadalajara 125 Open in Mexico, rallying from a set down to beat Panna Udvardi 1-6, 7-5, 6-3. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. congratulated her publicly. The Philippine Sports Writers Association named her the 2025 Female Athlete of the Year. She closed the season ranked number 53 in the world, having climbed nearly 100 places in 12 months. Then in 2026, on March 16th, she hit a career-high ranking of world number 29, the first Filipino player ever to break into the WTA top 30. As of May 18th, 2026, her official WTA career earnings stand at $1,984,569. Eala's connection to the Philippines isn't just a line on a passport, it's something she's actively kept alive. Despite spending years in Spain, she listens to OPM, reads books in Tagalog, and keeps the language present in her everyday life. When she won the 2022 US Open Junior Singles title, becoming the first Filipino to win a Junior Grand Slam Singles Championship, she gave her acceptance speech in Tagalog. During tough moments on court, broadcast cameras have caught her resetting mentally through Tagalog self-talk, repeating the phrase "malayo," which translates to "there is still a long way to go." At the same time, she's integrated into Spanish life with real ease. At the 2026 Madrid Open, a video of her speaking fluent Spanish went viral. And on April 28, 2025, Philippine Ambassador to Spain, Philippe L'Huillier, awarded her the Premios Tanglaw Trophy, an honor for people who strengthen the relationship between Spain and the Philippines, previously given to figures like Isabel Preisler and the late Senator Ed Angara. She's genuinely bicultural, and from everything we can see, she carries that without conflict. Right now, Alex Eala is in Paris preparing for the 2026 French Open at Roland Garros. Her first-round match, scheduled for May 24th, is against world number 17 Iga Swiatek of the United States, who also happens to be one of her closest friends on tour. The two have played doubles together, and earlier this year they reached the semifinals at the ASB Classic in Auckland, upsetting Venus Williams and Iga Swiatek along the way. The passport question will probably follow Eala for as long as she competes. But the more important story, the one that actually tells you something real about global sport, is the system that created the question in the first place. Athletes from countries with weaker passports are carrying administrative burdens that their peers from wealthier nations never have to think about. That's not a conspiracy. It's a structural inequality baked into how international travel works. And Alex Eala is one of the most visible examples of an athlete navigating that reality at the highest level of her sport while still winning.